Hi there, Dr. Rajiv Iyer here, coming with the experience of guiding many hundred international medical graduates like you from IMG Secrets. In this video, I'm going to tackle a burning question many international medical graduates have so you can plan your finance and career appropriately. I'm going to talk about how much money do you need to pursue a postgraduate training in the USA. And let's do this together. Hopefully, by now you already know that to come into the USA to do PG training, you must complete your USMLE. So let's start with the basics. USMLE step 1 is a pass or fail exam and it costs $1,000. If you're applying for the exam outside of the US or Canada, then you have to pay an international surcharge of approximately $195 at the time of this recording. USMLE step 2 CK gives you a score. The cost for the exam is once again $1,000 with an international surcharge of $220. You also have to take an English exam called the Occupational English Test, which costs approximately $500 depending on wherever you're taking this test from. Of course, you need a lot of study materials to study and prepare for USMLE. Typically, this involves purchasing a subscription, a software called USMLE World, books like First Aid, and other study materials. Now, for all three steps, I would approximate this at somewhere about $1,500 as a conservative estimate. After you finish your USMLE, you have to apply through one of the ECFMG pathways. There are currently 6 pathways to obtain your ECFMG certificate. The cost of this right now is $925. Just with these exams and obtaining a ECFMG certificate, we're already close to $5,000 or slightly more than that. All right, fantastic. Now let's say you're going to use this experience of obtaining ECFMG certification and directly apply for a clinical fellowship or a consultant position. Usually no cost for this because all this would go out of any centralized systems. Of course, if you go through any matching process, you may have to factor in those costs. Now, this video is focused on those who want to do a postgraduate training. To apply for postgraduate training, you apply to NRMP Match, which goes through an electronic residency application service called ERAS. You have to obtain a ERAS token, and currently it's priced at $165. You will end up obtaining a USMLE transcript, approximately $80. Now, this USMLE transcript has to be electronically transferred over to ERAS. Add another $80 for this. Hopefully you're writing it down in order to do the exact calculation as to how much you need to apply for postgraduate training in the USA as I'm saying all this. If you need support for residency and central app applications, then that's another $165. And there could be an NRMP registration fees of somewhere between $50 to $100. And for every program you apply, you will have to pay money, of course, depending on how many programs you apply and what specializations you apply to. This can range anywhere from $500 to a few $1,000s. If you decide to do USMLE Step 3 before applying for residency matching, you will have to travel to the mainland USA to do USMLE Step 3. Now, you can factor in your airfare costs, all the travel costs, your food costs, your staying costs, and people may have to end up staying in hotels. Depending on where you're traveling from and how many days you're in the US, you can factor in somewhere between $2,000 if you want to live luxuriously all the way up to $10,000 for this. All right, you now apply for the residency matching, you get an interview and you've been offered a position. Now you need to get a visa. If you are getting a J1 visa, the application for a J1 visa sponsor can run up to $370. And you also have to pay an additional $220 as a service fee to the Department of Homeland Security in order to process the visa. If you're applying for an H1B, there are the costs of H1B you can factor in. If you end up hiring an immigration attorney for any reason, you may want to factor in their costs as well, in which case your cost of application can significantly go up. So essentially, visa fees, visa processing fee can be up to $2,000. Again, these are all general estimates just to give you an idea. I have talked to IMGs and they have spent up to $20,000 to $25,000. Now let's say you decide to do any observerships. Then you have to factor in the observership fees as well. You decide to take mentoring and coaching options with someone like us, you will have to factor in that expense as well. Combine all this, hopefully this makes sense for you to plan your residency application. So the next step is you already have obtained a residency position, you moved to a city in the US, and now you have to factor in your living costs. But the good news is you'll be getting paid as a resident. I just talked to a local graduate who is currently doing his residency in New New York, and his pay for the first year of residency was $67,000. For second year, it was $72,000. For third year, $75,000, and for fourth year, $80,000. Now, the resident pay is not uniform across all the US. It depends on what hospital you're in and what part of the US you're in. The average for resident pay can range somewhere between $60,000 all the way up to $100,000 US dollars in some programs. So bottom line is, whatever you're spending after you have moved to the US as a resident will be taken care of by the pay you're obtaining. Typically, in our experience, residents cannot save money, but rather can use that to offset all their expenses and lead a decent lifestyle. But once you become a consultant, it's a completely different story. Then you'll be in a solid spot, both in terms of your work life and in terms of your financial aspects. I hope this breakdown has given you some clear idea as to how much money you need to plan in order to pursue a postgraduate training in the USA. Remember, whatever you invest in your education and doing the right way is actually investing in your future. If you get successful, there are huge returns you will find pursuing this. Of course, going through this can be extremely painful, but the rewards also can be significantly high. Next, I highly encourage you to check this video out where I've mentioned all the different options of how you can actually be a doctor in the USA and move to the USA successfully and even bypass as residency if you are an eligible candidate. Of course, any questions, do post in the comments below. We'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. If you need our help, you can go to our website, imgsecrets.com, and book an appointment either to speak with me or with one of our experts, and we will be more than happy to guide you with your career and next steps. Take care, stay safe, we'll talk to you soon.